Starting off this list in our number 10 spot, we have pink dolphins. There's a few weird things going on with these guys, but let's start with the most obvious, which is of course their color. These residents of the Amazon River are the largest of all river dolphins, and adults end up acquiring a strange pink coloring, which is more prominent in the males. Scientists aren't exactly sure why these guys are pink or why their color comes later in life, as they are born with a more gray color that is usually expected of dolphins. There are of course theories as to how they get their colors, however, with the most common being the thought that the color is brought on by scar tissue that results from either rough games or fighting with other pink dolphins or predators. I said at the beginning of this point that they are strange for a few reasons, and while their super unique and gorgeous color is one, the other has less to do with them and more about a very interesting legend that surrounds them. Legend goes that these dolphins actually transform into very handsome men in the evenings, and during this time they hypnotize and seduce young women before turning back to dolphins again near sunrise. The origins of this myth are rooted in some pretty dark cover-ups, so I think it's best if we just lay that one to rest and let these dolphins not take the blame for humans' awful behavior. In our number 9 spot today, we have the boiling river. It is pretty common knowledge that the Amazon is home to the longest river in the world, but there is another river found in the Amazon rainforest that is equally as astonishing, but for a very different reason. The boiling river got its name for being exactly that, as it is a river that is near a boiling point at all times. The water temperature reaches up to 93 degrees Celsius, which is just shy of the boiling point, and the steam coming off of the surface of the water is an obvious warning to all living creatures that it is absolutely unswimmable. You could, however, poach an egg in this river, although that's probably not the recommended cooking method. There is still debate around the source of heat for this river, but as of right now it is believed to be entirely natural and geothermal. Despite the river not being near any active volcanoes or geothermal vents, it is quite an anomaly. There are of course more local legends that state the river is a place of power and that the Mother of Waters is responsible for the creation of this incredible and strange river. Either way, just don't swim in the river and everything will be fine. In our number 8 spot today, we have Victoria amazonica. This water lily is one of many abnormally large things that can be found in the Amazon rainforest, and it is found in the shallow waters of the Amazon River basin. These lilies are not only the world's largest water lily, but they can also hold the weight of an adult human. They will begin to flower as the sun sets and take up to 48 hours to completely open, and they are absolutely beautiful. These flowers are not only super strong and super beautiful, but as they open they also release a wonderful scent, which leaves me wondering if there's anything they can't do. One thing to be careful of though, if you encounter one and decide to step on it, it is that their leaves have thorns to protect them from predators, so watch out for those. Actually, on a second thought, just because they can hold a human doesn't mean we have to step on them at all. Let's just admire their beauty and strength from afar and let them just be lilies like they're meant to be. In our number 7 spot today, we have the patu. I don't know if that's how you say that, but that's what we're going with. Okay, these guys definitely aren't the strangest thing on today's list, but they certainly look extremely strange. I'm sure a lot of us have seen a picture of them at some point because of their wild appearance that reminds you of your one friend that just can't quite keep it together, but despite them having a bit of a silly look on their faces, these birds actually possess some pretty cool skills. They are masters at disguising themselves and have the ability to remain motionless for days on end. They're nocturnal creatures, so it isn't often that we get to spot them flying around, and during the daytime they're so good at camouflaging themselves that you'll likely only be seeing them if they want to be seen. This is just one of those scenarios where we are reminded to not judge a book by its cover, because despite their goofy appearance, they're actually pretty serious birds with some serious talent. In our number 6 spot today, we have the bullet ant. Before I dive into this one, guys, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up button if you're enjoying the video so far. I'm sure the bullet ant is one creature on this list that many of us know about, but that certainly doesn't mean it isn't very strange. These creatures are obviously ants, but with one feature that makes them unlike others of their kind. They are the world's largest ant, which is cool, but their name is where things get a little crazy. Some people believe they are named for their size, as they are roughly the size of a bullet, but it is much more widely speculated that they are named because of the fact that their sting feels like getting shot by a bullet. I have not seen a bullet ant in real life, or been bit by one, and also haven't been shot, so I cannot confirm any of these things, but that's just what the internet tells me. The pain is said to last for 24 hours and causes waves of burning, throbbing, and all-consuming pain, which sounds like something I absolutely do not not want to experience. Maybe these guys are where the term small but mighty comes from, considering their bite is considered to be one of the most painful things a person can experience. I think I might try my best to stay away from them, even though it's unlikely I'll die from a bullet ant. I'm just not taking any risks, and I'd rather not go through that kind of pain if I can avoid it. In our number 5 spot today we have Rafflesia. Okay, remember how I said that there's a bunch of abnormally large things that can be found in the Amazon rainforest? Well, here's another one just to prove I wasn't lying. This flower is the world's largest flower, but it also has no roots, no stems, and no leaves, and instead lives as a holoparasite on the vines of a tetrastigma, which is a genus of plants in the grape family. This flower is very similar to fungi, and the only identifiable feature that is distinctly plant-like are the huge flowers, but even those are unusual, of course, due to their unbelievable size, as well as their reddish-brown color. One more strange part about these huge flowers is their smell, which apparently is comparable to rotting flesh. These flowers are also apparently on the verge of extinction, so between that and the smell, I feel like this might just be a flower to stay far, far away from. In our number 4 spot today we have the decoy building spider. Okay, I do not like spiders, so I really didn't want to include any on this list, but I absolutely had to once I found out about this small but mighty creature. These decoy building spiders are exceptionally small but super smart. These spiders only measure to be about 5 millimeters in length, but you might see a much larger spider hanging out in a web they created. This might sound alarming, but this spider is actually a decoy that the small spider built out of various materials such as food scraps, debris, and even their own old shed skin. It might not be the most beautiful work of art, but that is an unbelievable defense mechanism for such a tiny creature. These spiders were actually only discovered pretty recently, so not too much is known about them, as there still needs to be a ton of research done. It is however believed that this is a feature that has evolved in this particular spider, so it is possible that we only recently discovered it because it might be a newer feature. But the Amazon rainforest does hold many, many living creatures that we have yet to identify, so who really knows? All in all, this spider is very unique and strange, and basically the Michelangelo of spiders. In our number 3 spot today we have the corpse flower. Okay, we're back with another strangely large thing, and this time it is another flower that is called the corpse flower, which is a terrible nickname for a flower. This flower is deep green on the outside and a beautiful burgundy color on the inside, and it also features the world's largest unbranched inflorescence in the world. Both male and female flowers grow inside of the same inflorescence, but the females bloom first, with the males following in a day or two, which usually prevents the flowers from self-pollinating. These plants usually require 7 to 10 years before the initial blooming period, and after that, the blooming tends to be fairly sporadic. Some will take another 7 to 10 years, and some are able to bloom every other year. As the flower blooms, it is around human body temperature, which allows for its scent to be quite prominent, which you'd think would be nice, but apparently this is another flower that smells like a rotting corpse, which is where it gets its awful nickname from. These odors, however, are super helpful to the plant, as it allows it to attract pollinators, which are usually insects that like to feast on rotting flesh. So I guess while the scent is unbelievably unpleasant to humans, at least there are creatures that are more helpful to this flower that actually enjoy it, which I guess is just probably for the best. In our number 2 spot today we have this plastic eating fungi. This is a fungi that could help us solve one of the world's most pressing issues, which is the overpopulation of plastic. We have way too much plastic on this earth and virtually no way to get rid of it, but this discovery could help us fix that. This is the very first fungus ever found that can support itself on polyurethane in anaerobic conditions, which means that it not only can consume plastic, but it also does not require oxygen for growth. In fact, oxygen may even affect it negatively, which could make it a perfect species to help remove plastic from our oceans and other places with little to no oxygen. This is a fairly new discovery, which means it of course is still in the research phase. It will require more time before we are exactly sure how to best utilize its incredible properties, but this may be the solution to one of humanity's biggest questions and problems. And of course, this isn't a ticket to just start throwing plastic in the oceans, and should serve as a reminder to us all that our Earth is full of unbelievable things, and if we stopped ruining it for a second, we might be able to realize its full potential and see just how lucky we all are to have such a beautiful planet. In our number 1 spot today we have silkhenge. Okay, we already talked about one spider that was actually pretty cool, and begrudgingly I have to talk about another one because it also is equally as unbelievable, but here's the strangest part about it. We don't even actually know what the spider is. There is some kind of spider that is making what is referred to as silkhenge. This piece of spider art was first discovered in 2013 by Troy Alexander, who posted a photo of it on the internet asking for help in identifying it, but no one could help because it's a totally unknown phenomena. These structures are created by spiders and help with reproduction because they're actually protecting eggs. There's one main spire that is constructed of spider silk, and that is where the eggs are contained, and then surrounding that spire is a sort of circular fence that is also made of spider silk. The name comes from its similar appearance to Stonehenge, and no one knows what kind of spider is making these insane structures, or if it's a multitude of different kinds of spiders. Either way, it certainly is one of the most astonishing things being created by a tiny, mysterious creature. Hopefully one day we find out the creators of these sculptures so we can give them the proper credit they deserve. Starting off this list in our number 10 spot, we have the peanut head bug. Of course there is a scientific name for this bug that certainly makes it seem more sophisticated, but the peanut head bug definitely sounded a lot more fun. These guys love to live in tropical forests and can be found in Mexico as well as both Central and South America. Okay, so there's a few crazy things going on with this bug, so let's start off with the elephant in the room, which would be the peanut head. This bug reaches a length of up to 85 to 90 millimeters, with its head being as long as 10 to 15 of those millimeters. Other than being shaped like a peanut, this bug has false eyes that resemble that of a lizard or a serpent, which of course acts as a deterrent to predators. When being attacked, this bug will also spread its wings, which will then display another yellow pair of much larger false eyes, as well as releasing a terrible smelling substance. I feel like all of those traits have definitely qualified this bug to be on today's list, but let's just add one more for good measure. These bugs will also knock their heads on a hollow tree in order to create vibrations for mates. Okay, now I'm really done talking about the peanut head bug. In our number 9 spot today, we have the walking tree. Okay, so these trees got their name because of a myth surrounding them that would suggest they are able to walk. I mean, extremely slowly, but that's what it would seem. As cool as that would be to imagine trees roaming around the forest floor while humans aren't around, these trees aren't actually walking, of course, but what is happening is still pretty cool and definitely worth talking about. Basically, these trees just have a really amazing root system. Firstly, these trees look like they're almost on some kind of stilts, which isn't necessarily the most usual thing to see, but it's just all a part of their roots. It isn't quite clear why these trees appear this way, and there have been many theories as to why, but none have been proven yet. The walking myth comes from the fact that it is believed that as conditions on one side of the tree improve, the tree will be more likely to be regrowing near that side and will allow the roots on the opposite side to kind of just die off. This of course could potentially lead to very minimally small movements over an extended period of time, but it still makes sense as to where the story may have come from. The trunk is used in the construction of houses and other structures, as well as hunting spears, and the inner parts of the stilt roots are used as a male aphrodisiac. This tree produces a yellow fruit which is edible as well. In our number 8 spot today, we have the Brazilian grape tree. Before I dive into this one, guys, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button if you're enjoying the video so far, because it really helps us out. This tree is a slow-growing evergreen tree that features salmon pink leaves when it's young, before they turn green as it matures and gets older. That's not the only strange and interesting thing about these trees, however, as they grow their grape-like fruit right on the trunk, which isn't the most normal thing for trees. These fruits are purplish black and can be eaten raw, or they can sometimes be used to make jam. While this tree is very adaptable, in its preferred climate, this tree can flower and fruit up to 5 or 6 times a year. The most common diseases that affect these trees are rust, canker, dieback, and fruit rot. So while there's a lot about these trees that are of course similar to other trees in general, this one definitely has some unique features that landed it a spot here today. In our number 7 spot today, we have the zombie ants. Okay, this one might be small scale, but it is truly straight out of a horror movie. There's a type of insect pathogenic fungus that is commonly found in tropical forest ecosystems. This fungus infects a certain kind of ant, and once infected, this ant basically turns into a zombie. Good news is the ant doesn't suddenly go around eating others of its kind, but it is still being controlled and manipulated by this fungus. The ant will leave their nest in usual trails and head for the forest floor, which has better conditions for fungal growth. From there, the ant will then bite and attach itself to a major vein on a leaf and basically just stay there until it dies, which is usually around 4 to 10 days. During these days, the fungus will start to basically sprout out of the ant's head so as to be prepared to infect the next unsuspecting creature. Okay, that one might have been the grossest one on this list. In our number 6 spot today, we have the Amazon rings. This discovery was made by archaeologists, and while not much is really known about it, it was a discovery that did change what we once believed. So basically, a bunch of ditches were found in the landscape of the Amazon. Most of them are round, but there are also other shapes. It's unclear what they were used for, but the theories range from defense to drainage to maybe even ceremonial or spiritual reasons, but the coolest thing about these rings is that they are older than the Amazon forest itself. It is so unbelievable to see these ancient relics of our past civilization, and considering how we couldn't live without the Amazon rainforest, it's crazy to think of a time when it didn't even exist yet. Unfortunately, this discovery only happened because of the ongoing and devastating deforestation that plagues the Amazon and those who live in it every single day. In our number 5 spot today, we have Electrophorus electricus. This guy is way better known as an electric eel, despite it really not being an eel at all and rather a knife fish. Until 2019, this was the only species in its genus, which is super cool. These guys have actually been reclassified several times because of the fact that they really are just quite unusual. They grow to be around 2 meters long and are a dark gray-brown color on their backs, but more of a yellow or orange color on their bellies. They have 3 main abdominal organs: the main organ, Hunter's organ, and Sach's organ, which all take up about 4/5 of its body, but are responsible for the ability to produce electricity. Basically, they can produce either low voltages, which are used to sense their surrounding environments, or high voltages, which are used to detect prey and subsequently stun them. While this guy isn't a huge threat to humans, there have been a few documented instances of people dying from their electric shock, so I think this is one creature that maybe I'll just stay away from. In our number 4 spot today, we have poison dart frogs. These frogs do look kind of cute, but they apparently are one of the most toxic creatures on Earth. They can be a variety of colors from black, yellow, red, green, copper, or blue, and it all depends on their habitats and how toxic they are. These colors can help them to keep predators away, as it is a sign that eating them is probably not worth it, but if that's not enough of a deterrent, they've got a special weapon ready to go. It is said that the poison from one of these frogs would be enough to kill 10 adult humans, which is crazy. The name of these kinds of frogs came from the old tradition that the indigenous people of Colombia used, where they would cover the tip of their blowgun darts with the frog's poison before hunting. Aside from these guys being super small but super poisonous, another strange thing about them is that we don't actually know where their poison comes from, but at the moment it is believed that it may be their diet. In our number 3 spot today, we have the Hamza River. Many of us already know about the Amazon River, and in part 1 we talked about the boiling river, but today we have a much less well-known river that is actually super interesting, and that is the Hamza River. This river wasn't discovered until very recently in 2011. This river is actually roughly the same size as the Amazon River, so why wouldn't we know about it? Well, it's because it's located 4 kilometers underground. This river also isn't really a river at all, but more of a slowly flowing aquifer. Both the Hamza and the Amazon River are the 2 main drainage systems for the Amazon basin, and the pair forms a geologically unusual instance of a twin river system that flows at different levels of the Earth's crust. While the Hamza is considered slow and only has 3% of the flow that the Amazon River has, that 3% is still 46 times that of the Thames. I'm not gonna lie, I never thought I'd get excited at the idea of a river, but this one is actually pretty cool. In our number 2 spot today, we have the Tyrant King Leech. These disgusting creatures were discovered quite recently, and I wish we never even knew they existed. These guys have 8 teeth, and their discovery came after one was found feeding on the mucous membrane of a girl who had recently bathed in the upper Amazon. Unlike other leeches, these guys only have 1 row of teeth, but they are disproportionately large. These horrifying things do not drop off their hosts after feeding, but instead will remain attached for days or even weeks. Because these guys prefer the mucous membranes, they aim for areas like the mouth, throat, and nose. Because of their small size, they aren't easily detectable at first either, but once attached, they can grow up to 7 centimeters, so surely they'd be noticeable by then. I'm not sure if these guys or the zombie ant fungus is worse. In our number 1 spot today, we have the Amazonian giant centipede. Okay, thank God this is the last one on this list because I am so freaked out by all of these creepy crawlies we're talking about today. These centipedes are the largest centipede species in the world with the ability to grow over a foot in length. These gross things will prey on basically anything that they can, which includes other large insects, spiders, millipedes, scorpions, and even tarantulas. But because they're so huge, it also includes small lizards, frogs, snakes, mice, and even bats. They have crazy hunting techniques for the largest of their prey and have been known to climb to the ceiling of caves in order to get to the bats, which is both incredible and so scary. These things are also venomous, and while it hasn't been a common occurrence for humans to die from a bite, there is one recorded incident that took place in 2014. This incident happened in Venezuela, and a person passed away after being bitten by one of these giant centipedes after it had hidden itself inside of an empty soda can. There are a lot of dangerous things crawling around on the forest floor of the Amazon, but this one might take the cake on being the most disgusting looking.
Starting us off, in at number 10, we have the boiling river that is over 100 degrees Celsius.
It's getting much hotter.
Turns out this place is real.
There's the boiling river. This part pretty hot.
If you fall in there, you would be cooking yourself. This river is also called Lambamba or Shene Lemishka, which means boiled by the heat of the sun, although some of the heat is actually geothermal. And it is known to be the only boiling river in the world. Andres Russo is a geoscientist, conservationist, author, science communicator, and educator who became the first scientist granted permission to study the boiling river of the Amazon back in 2011, so that was pretty recent.
Imagine a river, hot enough to kill you, said to be the home of a powerful Amazonian water spirit. That place is real, and I've been there.
From the boiling waters of the Amazon to now a water lily so big and so strong it can actually hold up an average person's weight, well, this mammoth of a lily comes in at number 9. The lily is called Victoria Amazonica. It is known as the largest of the lily family. One thing we know about the Amazon rainforest is that it has a very unique climate and it has a lot of rainfall, which makes everything a lot bigger, including this lily pad. I mean, aren't these things just for frogs? This can probably house like the world's population of frogs. Okay, maybe not, but you guys get the point. This lily pad can reach up to 3 meters in diameter. And just like that, number 8, we have the Jesus Christ lizard. Is this real life right now? Who is naming these things? These Jesus Christ lizards have the capability of running on water, and it's pretty amusing to watch.
So I'm about to show you guys what these lizards are capable of by showing you that he can run across water. So here he goes, guys.
So right here.
I think this is the coolest thing ever, and was Jesus able to walk on water as well? I'm not sure if I got the name reference. I don't think this is how the laws of physics work. I want to have this ability, and I wonder if this frog can also turn water into wine.
Just like that.
The mysterious Amazon rings is next up at number 7. A series of ring-shaped ditches have been found throughout the Amazon rainforest. I suppose there are a lot of theories, about aliens landing here. This can be alien landing sites. This can be compared to crop circles. It is believed that these ditches were possibly used as a drainage system for people who lived there hundreds of years ago. Many archaeologists believe that these indigenous people might have lived in the Amazon rainforest even before Christopher Columbus arrived in the Americas back in 1492. Well, whatever the case may be, these discoveries have caused controversy. People also believed that these were ancient settlements from the 1250s to the 1500s. Moving into number 6, we have the frog who has nothing to hide. We're talking about the glass frog that is commonly found in the Amazon rainforest. These glass frogs are transparent. You can see everything inside.
They're typically characterized by their skin, which is so translucent you can see their organs. For scientists, this latest discovery is a good sign.
I think it's so creepy. Imagine them were all translucent and you could see everyone's insides. I mean, that would freak me out. I wouldn't want to know what everyone's eating. We actually have another animal and another frog on this list. There are so many frogs out there. Doing the research for this, I was like, wow. So up next, number 5, we have the poison dart frog. I mean, take a look at this thing. It looks pretty sick. It has blue skin and its eyes are like black, like demon eyes. Pretty scary looking if you asked me. The Amazon rainforest seems to have it all. This mysterious frog is actually known to be the most toxic creature on Earth. This frog is capable of killing 10 grown men with its poison. These frogs are actually pretty tiny and they come in black, yellow, red, green, copper, blue, depending on their individual habitats. These bright colors help scare off potential predators. Also, the food they eat, which are small ants, mites, and other invertebrates, well, they have high concentrations of alkaloids. Once the alkaloids are ingested into the poisonous frog system, it allows them to produce toxins that makes them poisonous. Number 4, we have the largest species of river dolphins in the world. Remember when I said that everything is much bigger in the Amazon rainforest? Well, I guess it's really proven to be true. Well, let's take a look at the pink dolphin. They grow about 2 to 3 meters in length and they weigh over 350 pounds.
We've come here to the Amazon to check out the Boto dolphin, otherwise known as the pink river dolphin.
The life expectancy of the Amazon river dolphin in the wild, well, it's actually unknown, but in captivity, the longevity of a healthy dolphin has been recorded to be about 10 to 30 years. Because of their habitat being destroyed and people catching them, they are dwindling in population. Alright, let's move on to number 3. We have the world's biggest flower. This right here, well, this is the Rafflesia. This flower has no roots, stems, or leaves, making it very mysterious. And how does it even grow? This flower might look pleasant, well, sort of. Well, it's actually known for its smell of rotting meat. This would be the only flower I would look at in the world that would make me want to throw up.
And here it is. Wow! Look at the size of this flower.
The bloom of this flower only lasts about 6 to 7 days, which makes it very rare to find it while it's bloomed. After it's bloomed, it just dies and rots away. Like it, take a look at this.
It's a parasite. It has no leaves. It consists of a fiber of tissues inside a vine called the tetrastigma vine.
Everything about this flower is just so mysterious, which is why we put it on this list. Moving on to number 2, we have the indigenous tribe who live in the Amazon rainforest. I've been so fascinated with this. I really have been. There are about 400 to 500 indigenous tribes. They are very isolated from the outside world. In fact, they have no contact with the outside world. The Yanomami tribe is the largest tribe in the rainforest, and they have about 20,000 people, and they live near the border of northern Brazil and southern Venezuela. Many other tribes only have about 20 to 30 people in it. In these tribes, there are 180 different languages spoken. I just think it's so crazy that, you know, we're all living in 2019, but we still have people in the world who are living in the Stone Age. Like, to those people, we are from the future, or we are what they call aliens. Finally, at number 1, I think this one is the most fascinating, and for some reason, I've actually learned about this a while ago, before I did the research for this video. Well, at number 1, we're talking about the walking palm, the walking tree, which is a tree that can literally walk. Is this real life right now? How is something like this possible? I mean, this tree is from the future.
What's happening, y'all? I don't know if you've ever seen a walking tree. This is actually called a walking tree because these are the roots that come from up high, not down on the ground. They grow into the ground. They're both on both sides of the tree.
Usually these trees will try and get closer, closer to water, or move to places in the right spot where they have the right amount of sun. If you ever come across this tree though, don't get like terrified or scared that if you do something wrong, this tree might chase you or something like that. Because the walking tree walks pretty slowly. I mean, you will never see it move. It moves like a centimeter every like couple of years or something.